What is up, everybody? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. I promised you guys that I was going to do a video about some of the things that's been happening in the NBA free agency market. And one of the teams right now that's making real moves to really put themselves back in the title contention for next year is the Denver Nuggets. And we all know what happened to the Denver Nuggets this year. There were a lot of, turmoil last season due to the fact that Mike Malone and Calvin Booth did not get along with one another. There was a lot of issues with Michael Porter Jr. in terms of his health and lack of production, and the fact that Nikola Jokic was being overspended and overused a lot throughout the year, despite putting up historical numbers this year and averaging a triple-double as a center throughout the year. There were certainly a lot of issues with the depth, issues with some of the key players on the team that really derailed their chances to possibly moving further in the playoffs. But they've already gone to work this year. So this year, they are making some major moves in the offseason. Now, one of the things that the Denver Nuggets did this time around is they finally distanced themselves from Michael Porter Jr. Now, we know how talented he can be. The problem was his health. The man was battling too many injuries the last couple of postseasons, and even when he was healthy, he was just not producing at a high level to warrant the $48 million deal that he was being paid for the next 3 seasons. And it was just not going to be enough to try to get the Nuggets over the hump. So what the Nuggets did this time around, they finally said goodbye to Michael Porter Jr. by trading him and an unprotected first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. Now, Cam Johnson is a player that provides the same kind of elements, but with better defense around him. And the fact is that you were able to get him on a bargain. So you were able to cut away from Michael Porter Jr. and basically save yourself at least half of the salary cap of at least $20 to $28 million in salary cap. And literally, you got yourself a guy who's a better perimeter defender, better shooter, better all-around athlete than Michael Porter Jr. was. Not to say that Michael Porter Jr. can still produce, but it's just that he was facing a lot of injuries and lack of consistency. That's been the big thing about him for the last couple of seasons. And another big move that they've also made during the offseason too, they also signed a valuable backup center in Jonas Valanciunas from the Sacramento Kings. Now, I will say that he's not like a top tier center as he is anyway. But the fact that you were able to get a prime backup center to help back up Nikola Jokic is a big sign. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Saric and DeAndre Jordan just was never going to cut it as backup centers. And the fact that you were able to get a backup center is critical. Because now you'll be able to play around with your depth a little bit more. And more importantly, you'll be able to get a lot of rest needed for Nikola Jokic so he can play much better basketball as they get into the playoffs for next year. Another big signing they also brought into is they also brought in Tim Hardaway Jr. on a 1-year deal from the Detroit Pistons. That's another big signing too. Now you're adding versatility, you're adding off-ball depth, you're adding three-point shooting to your bench, and you also brought back Bruce Brown, who was a key member of the 2023 NBA championship for the Nuggets a couple of years ago. So you were able to get him on a veteran minimum deal. So in the course of this offseason, you already got Cam Johnson, Valanciunas, also, who else did I mention too? Tim Hardaway Jr. and also Bruce Brown. I'm telling you, the Denver Nuggets right now, they're really, other than outside of the Houston Rockets, of course, acquiring Kevin Durant, the Denver Nuggets right now, they are cooking this offseason. They're making it very clear that they're ready to compete once again for the NBA title this year. And the fact that you were able to provide in off-ball scoring, three-point shooting, versatility on the front line, and also a backup center, a productive backup center for Nikola Jokic. I'm going to tell you something. The Denver Nuggets right now are putting themselves in a position now where now they can not just compete in the West, but they could be one of the teams that could beat the Oklahoma City Thunder if they ever meet in the playoffs. Because one thing is for certain with the Oklahoma City Thunder, one of their major weaknesses is their front line. Especially when we saw in that 7-game series, there were a lot of times that the Oklahoma City Thunder had their problems, and they were facing against the worst version of the Denver Nuggets. Now that they're adding better pieces around them now, I guarantee you this. The Denver Nuggets have put themselves back into the mix in the NBA title race, especially in the tough competitive Western Conference. So I really like the moves that the Denver Nuggets are making right now. They're really steering into the right direction and really trying to help, Nikola Jokic get back into the mix of winning another championship before his prime years are done with, because it's very, very important that you try to expend much resources as possible to try to compete for championships. Something that Calvin Booth was unwilling to do during his time as a general manager. And we all know this for a fact, that the guy, he was not willing to pull the trigger to keep some of the important pieces on that championship team, and he gambled on some young, unproven talent that just haven't panned out, with the exception of Christian Braun, of course. So now you're adding other pieces around to the mix to help, with the versatility and the depth and the three-point shooting and off-ball play. Now the Denver Nuggets are putting themselves in a prime position now where they're going to be in the mix for the championship next year, barring injury and barring how things go for next year. So that's my thoughts on the Denver Nuggets right now. They're cooking right now, and hopefully they'll continue to make some more moves in the offseason too as well. I'm going to do another video possibly tomorrow or maybe on Friday, discuss more on the Damian Lillard situation and what my thoughts about the whole thing. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. With that, I'm out. Peace.